Okay, so one of the steps in the Heal What Hurts process, which comes after you've gotten really good at being in your body and really good at recognizing your breath, recognizing where your triggers are, where do they live in your body, how do you numb out. So after you've gone through all of that, then the last step is, well, should I stay in this relationship? And that's usually the first question a new client wants to get answered. They come because they're very frustrated and very triggered. By the time you hire somebody specifically to work with your triggers, it's because the triggers feel overwhelming and maybe regular therapy hasn't really gotten underneath them. And the question is, do I stay with this partner? Do I just get out? And the reason why that's one of the last steps in the process is because until you have processed your own triggers, which requires a lot of self-love and self-presence, it's really hard to see if this partner has something to contribute in your life or not. When we're very triggered by someone, it's because they remind us of someone in our past. It usually is because this person reminds us of a caretaker from our childhood in some way. In Harville Hendricks' words, the person will remind us of the best and the worst of our primary caretakers. And I think that's very true. So there is this attempt to get something from this person that we did not get from a primary caretaker. And very often we end up selecting somebody who can't give that to us. And then sometimes you work with somebody who then in their own healing process, if they're also in a healing process, you can actually meet each other and you can end up meeting each other's needs. But more often than not, that initial attraction that is based on triggers, mutual triggers, is tricky because you are often attracted to somebody because they remind you of something that was hurting and that you want to try and fix it this time around. And more often than not, that other person is not interested in being fixed and is not interested in giving up the addiction or the behavior or whatever it is that resembles something that happened to you when you were younger. And when you become self-loving and self-present enough, you want nothing but love for yourself. You love yourself so much, not in an indulgent, coddling way, but just genuine love and care for yourself, where you just want to be with somebody who feels good to be with, who's a good fit, where you feel safe, where you feel like your most basic needs, you don't have to struggle to get those met. So it's really impossible to say right off the bat when someone comes in and they're very triggered whether or not they should stay with this partner. It's like, initially I would just say to stay, because we need to work with everything that's coming up in this relationship. Whatever this other person is doing that is bringing your triggers to the surface is really a gift in some ways, because then you have to look at them and be with them and hold them. And once you've gotten so good at doing that self-holding and so present in your own body, you will look at the other person and whatever is their quirky behavior, and either it won't trigger you anymore, it will just be, whatever, they can do whatever they want, or it will actually be something that isn't good for you, that is something unhealthy from your past that you're replicating, because that's what samskaras do. That's what these old patterns do. They tend to just replicate a pattern, and it's not necessarily one that is ultimately healing and nurturing for you to be in. So I would say don't make a decision about the relationship that you're in that triggers you until you, when you are triggered, feel very present and loving in your body. And then you might sense almost a self-protective, loving, self-protective, peaceful energy arise within you, where it's much easier. It's almost like it's the adult in you that is assessing, does this relationship meet my needs? What are my needs? Are they reasonable? And if they're reasonable, which generally relationship needs, post being very triggered are quite reasonable. You know, can I trust you? Are you around? You know, do you prioritize me? And are we on the same page with, you know, how much we see each other and how much we do together and things like that. That you will start looking at through the lens of adult you. And then it's not so difficult. Then suddenly it's not the 4-year-old that is in reactivity, that is either super attached to this person or never wants to see this person again. Then it's the adult person in you who can look very objectively and see, is this a good match? Are the things I really cherish in a relationship, are they present here? Or is there a good chance, does it look like that's where we're going? We're evolving toward that at the very least. And that becomes much less of a kind of a black and white decision. It becomes much more of a very kind of sensible, rational decision that comes from, you know, you could almost say you become the parent who's organizing an arranged marriage for your beautiful daughter or son. And you're really doing it out of sincere wish that this be a really wonderful place for your child, this person, this marriage, this relationship. So you look at the astrology and you look at the compatibility and you look at who these two people are. And from that deeply loving, but very sensible and rational place within yourself, you can say, yeah, this is a place where my daughter would feel safe and at ease and good and well taken care of and supported, or not so much. And then the decision, I think, is clear. But that has to be at the end of the process, not in the beginning of the process. And that can be frustrating at first. So self-love comes first, and then you're able to assess whether it really is a loving connection that you're involved in underneath the triggers. So if you want to explore that more, explore the process more, explore how you get into that deep state of self-love and mature advocating for yourself, come to one of my Heal What Hurts process courses. I have mini retreats coming up regularly. I also have private clients that I see. If it's maybe a more of an intense situation, it can be nice to have a one-on-one. But the group sessions are a very good place to start if you want to explore how to heal your emotional triggers so you can make healthy, sound decisions for your future with or without another person.